Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's ATS webinar, Getting Involved in ATS, a Leadership Pathways for Early Career Scientists. My name is Jared Barnes. I'm delighted to help moderate today's discussion along with my fellow moderators, Aline Oliveira and Sola Dinopoulos. Thank you both for helping with moderating. This is going to be a really cool webinar. Our goal for this session is to highlight the many ways scientists can engage with the American Thoracic Society and really to demystify, if you will, the pathways into meaningful involvement in leadership. We've brought together a terrific panel. They're going to introduce themselves, how they've gotten involved at ATS in terms of leadership and their service. They'll share their experiences, lessons learned. We'll have a time for some questions with them, and we'll do some, hopefully they'll give us some practical advice on how their early career was started at ATS and how they've really built their entry points and kind of grown into ATS in terms of leadership. With that, let's jump right in. Let's get started here with the brief introductions from each panelist. I have them in alphabetical order. So that's why Megan got to go first. She's much like me. His last name starts with a B. So Ballinger, Megan Ballinger, please kick us off with an intro.
Hi, thanks so much, Jared. My name is Megan Ballinger. I'm currently an associate professor at Ohio State University in the Department of Internal Medicine, Division of Pulmonary Critical Care. So I'm a PhD basic science researcher in a clinical department. I think the things that I've been able to be involved in with ATS have been all listed here, both within the assemblies as well as within the various different committees that are kind of more appointed positions. So I'm not going to go into detail with that, but happy to answer any questions. I'm proud to say that I've been a member since 2004, and I went to the first Orlando conference, and I'm excited about going back next year or going back this year. And so that's been something that's really been important to me. As far as what I'm doing right now, here's a list of things that I'm involved in, especially with kind of the journal and being a part of a society journal with an associate editor and the publication and policy committee. And I'm happy to answer any questions about how to get involved with that or what my roles look like there. Thanks.
Thank you, Megan. Next up is Andrea Frump.
Yeah, hi. So my name is Andrea Frump. I am also a PhD scientist in a very clinical division, like Megan. So I'm at Indiana University in the Division of Pulmonary Critical Care, Sleep, and Occupational Medicine. I kind of looked at this as two different pathways to get involved at ATS. You have an academic path where you build your scientific reputation, and then you have a professional path where you get involved in leadership roles and committees. So with the academic path, I have it outlined below, but I wanted to emphasize two key takeaways or three key takeaways at the top, which I think are the most important is finding your academic community and where you fit. Not all assemblies are the same. So I'm in the Pulmonary Circulation Assembly, and it's actually pretty research focused, but you might be in a more clinically focused assembly. So it's really important to find your community, your academic community, so you can share your science more effectively and network. And that's the other thing is you really have to network and build your scientific reputation, present your work, meet people, and then, rely on your mentors and your friends to help you meet people and connect to those people. And then as far as, professional path and getting involved is you really have to be proactive and invite yourself. And I actually got involved in the program committee by crashing a program committee meeting in the morning at ATS. That's how I got involved. I had a proposal ready to go. You submit proposals, you talk to the chairs and say, hey, I would really like to moderate a session or I'd like to get involved in this committee. The ATS also has great ways to apply through apprenticeship programs and get involved in programs. But my path, I started out as actually a journal club co-editor for our assembly. That was a good way to get involved in my assembly. I was actually the first PhD on that webinar group, and I learned how to put together webinars. I became a program committee member. I joined the Early Career Working Group, which is a great resource, great networking group. I was nominated to and elected to the nomination committee, and then the program chair elect and chair. And currently I'm just a program committee member, but I've had a long journey.
Thank you, Andrea. Next up is Mamita Ghosh.
Hi, I'm Momita Ghosh. I'm an associate professor at the University of Colorado at Anschutz Medical Campus. And my interest in aeroepithelial stem cells, and I'm studying COPD and lung premalignancy. So I have been ATS member since 2013, started as a trainee, and my since then I have been to most of the ATS annual meeting. And the very first one I did, I had a poster presentation, and also I taught in the postgraduate course on Friday for teaching flow cytometry. And so that's like, long time ago. And since then, so for first few years, my primary assembly used to be RCMB, because that was a lot more. And I'm just mentioning that because we are all group of PhDs that, and we being a part of PBTS, that we talk a lot about how it feels to be in ATS, which is very heavy on clinical, MD scientist, physician scientist. And so after from 2018 onwards, as my research evolved more into lung cancer, my primary assembly became thoracic oncology, and also based on exposure related lung disease. I'm now TO is my primary assembly, EOPH and RCMB are my secondary assemblies. So I see a lot of different things. So being involved in RCMB, there is a lot more focus on basic science, whereas in thoracic oncology, and I was like 2 years program committee member, is very difficult to bring in basic science in there. And in 2022 I had like two students presenting in the thematic poster session. They didn't have any question whatsoever, because it was not a very good experience for them, because they were put into with CT screening and how to create algorithm to find. Those are really important work, but just because the kind of basic research that we do, that's not available in thoracic oncology assembly. So being the program committee member, me with other people, we really try to change it and bring it more basic science in there. So one thing I totally agree with Andrea and the other, Megan, that you have to really work to be noticed and being involved. So you need to be active. And I think that for what works, for what is great about it is, see, meet new people and also catch up with old friends. There is nothing like that. And then and really making, we know in there are things that we would like to see, but only way that would happen when we get involved and we let them know. Because currently I'm executive committee member for TO assembly, and really we are all talking about in the PBTS working group that why we are seeing decrease in the PhD registration. And I feel like the leadership feels that this decrease in registration for PhD, that would bring PhDs in. But that's just not all. I mean, that helps, but also the program itself needs to be more tuned towards like what helps us. Otherwise, there are so many meetings, you have to pick and choose. So I think that and also this really helped me, that being TO Liazo for PBTS working group, I had like people who think like me. And so during these last 13 years, I played many roles like moderator, speaker, presenter, facilitator. But I think that it's a really good community, and being involved is the only way that we can just make changes and find opportunities that help others.
Thank you, Mamita. Next is Jennifer Honda.
Yeah, hey you guys, good to see everyone. Glad to be a part of this group. So I am currently an associate professor at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Tyler, and I really focus on non-tuberculous mycobacterial lung disease. So I've been part of the PITB assembly for a long period of time. My mentor early in graduate school gave me some good advice and said, find a meeting that you go to all the time and stick with it, right? Essentially. And so that's what I did. I mean, when I was in graduate school, I went to my first ATS conference at Toronto and felt like totally overwhelmed. It was so huge, but I said, I'm never going to come back again. But look, I did, right? And definitely came back, found ATS and really sort of stuck with it. And so essentially, through the years, I feel like it has a very nice step up kind of process, a very nicely laid out plan for people to get involved with ATS, starting with early career working groups and these kind of things. And I actually got funded through an ATS Foundation Award too, which is also very nice to sort of get recognition and get some funds for science as well too. And really taking advantage of the mentor-mentee kind of hookups that the assemblies do. And I found a really good mentor towards that end as well too, that has been with me for a long time. And I still go back to this mentor as well. And then through those years, sort of working through getting some small travel awards and getting early career awards as well too, becoming, I think, an ATS Assembly Rising Star was a really big sort of stepping stone for me because it let everyone sort of know who I was. And then that led on to other awards as well too that came through the assembly. So with that, kind of getting involved with ATS, next slide. Whoever's good. And so, yeah, so I joined, many different sort of working groups in between that, being part of the PhD working group as well, too. Being part of the Science and Innovation Center was also very key for me as well, too. That helped me network and really being a part of, again, this PhD working group. So it taught me a lot of things in the context of how to network with people, right? Finding colleagues, really trying to give you a national stage, right, to present your work and to give oral and poster presentations and to really find a good sort of networking hub and people that you kind of contact with all the time and really to generate new ideas and lead to new grant ideas and these kind of things. So that was really important for me as well too. And just to let you know, I am the PhD reception chair for this year. So I want all of you guys to be there as well too. And that's another way to get involved as well, and a really fun one as well too. So not only is it really important academically, but it's also very fun. And also I look forward to it every year. So thanks, you guys. Oh, and then ATS, being an ATS fellow as well too is really important as well. That was my final point.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer. And Harry, you're up.
Hi, good morning, everybody, or afternoon. I'm not sure, I'm in Dublin right now. But yeah, so a little bit of my career trajectory you can see there. And I think one of the things I wanted to highlight is that my research is on lung fibrosis and pulmonary hypertension. So it was benefiting for me to be part of two different assemblies. And from that, certain opportunities have arisen from both areas, and network has been always good to be part of these diverse programs. So I'll leave it at that, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Harry. Next is Tom.
Well, it's really a pleasure to be part of this esteemed panel. So I'm Tom Mariani. I've been at the University of Rochester for about the last 17 years, where I have the pleasure of doing my own research and also playing some administrative roles in organizing research within the Department of Pediatrics. I've been a member of the ATS since 1993, so that may make me the old timer here on this panel for whatever that's worth. I've played a lot of I've had a lot of roles at the ATS, both at the assembly level as well as the society level. So I have a lot of experience. I won't take up too much time going through specifics of those experiences, other than to say that they're numerous, and you can read them here on the slide for yourself. But I would like to say that I think you should get involved at the ATS because it's really wonderful for you as an individual and for your career development, because you'll learn a lot about yourself and you'll surprise yourself with the things that you can accomplish. In order for you to get engaged in the ATS, you are going to have to be a little bit proactive, but be the least shy, most proactive version of yourself and dive in and get started. Doesn't really matter so much where you start, because your first position will educate you a lot about the society and it'll provide guidance for where you may want to move next or what you may want to focus on. I will say, don't worry too much about demographics or degrees. When I was getting engaged within the ATS, neither I or my colleagues ever really talked about what our degrees were. We just talked about science and we talked about the things that we wanted to accomplish. So try not to get too hung up on the degrees that individuals have. And you know what? If you're willing to do work for the ATS, then you will definitely be invited back, and you will definitely become part of the organization in a new and beneficial way. And I would suggest to you that that you should try to be the change that you want to see at the ATS. And I look forward to the Q&A portion of our webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Or we got two more. So, Daniel.
Thanks, Jared. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Shumperlin. I'm a professor of physiology and biomedical engineering at the Mayo Clinic. Like Tom, I'm an old timer. I started going to ATS meetings when the years started with numbers 1 and 9, so that takes me back a ways. I work on basic biology, and my interests kind of straddle a couple of different assemblies at ATS. So I'm an example of somebody who's um, explored some flexibility within the assembly structure. So I've spent some of my activities in respiratory cell and molecular biology, as well as in respiratory structure and function. And I've served some roles in both of those assemblies over the years. I really got interested in ATS as a venue for trying to build recognition for my science um, as a young investigator. And so for me, it was an opportunity to learn, you know, that the programming of the meeting comes from grassroots proposals from members of the community as to what kind of science we should be featuring at the meeting. And so it was very impactful for me as a young investigator to serve on the program committee, to understand how the meeting abstracts are reviewed and how proposals are selected for symposia and mini symposia, and then propose my own and try to get the science that I'm most interested in featured at the meeting, and try to build up some recognition of the work that I wanted to do. So I think it's been valuable for me in those perspectives. As far as my incoming role, I'll be serving as the assembly chair now for respiratory cell and molecular biology. I don't really know what that entails because I haven't taken on that role yet. So if you have questions about that, I'll do my best to answer. But I think there are people on here who could also address some of those questions as well. And yeah, I think there's a number of opportunities to get involved at an early stage in terms of mentoring networks that I'll try and highlight as well if they come up in the Q&A. And I'll leave it there, and I look forward to the Q&A as well.
Thanks, Dan, so much. And our last one, but not least, is Ivana.
Hi, I'm Ivana Yang. I'm also a PhD scientist. I am at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus. This is not the right slide.
That's my second slide. Sorry, Jared.
Oh, I'm sorry. So can you wing it, Ivana? Do you have the ability to wing it? I could try to locate it, but
It's
please.
really okay. I don't need my slides. So I have spent most of my career in pulmonary divisions at 3 different institutions, Duke, National Jewish, University of Colorado. But most recently, I have moved to a basic science department, our newly established Department of Biomedical Informatics. I do research at an interface of kind of genomics, bioinformatics, and then basic science. So we work in large cohorts, get candidate genes using all kinds of omic integration methods, and then we take them into cell and animal models for follow-up. So for that reason, my involvement in ATS has been across a couple of different, and I should say that mostly I've done work in interstitial lung diseases, primarily IPF and sarcoidosis, but I've also done some work in asthma. So because of all that kind of diversity of what I do, my primary assemblies are CMB, my secondaries AII, and then within AII, I've been very involved in the section on genetics and genomics. So in RCMB, I started on the programming committee. That was one of my first roles in the ATS. I then did a couple of other things in between, but then most recently I represented RCMB on the science core curriculum. So those top-down sessions at the ATS that have different topic every year. And that was really fun. I got to know people across assemblies. And then in the section of genetics and genomics, I've had mostly elected positions, so nominating committee member a while ago, and then most recently I